Okay, think we can start. I hope my keyboard won't be as clanky as last time, as I will try to move keyboard a bit away. We will start in a few minutes. Why is there no chat window on my screen? Dashboard. All right. Oh, here's the chat. Oh. Oh, come on. Okay, now it's the chat. Okay. So hello everyone. Today I will be reviewing two projects, hopefully. One project for game server, written in Go. So that's a challenge for me because I barely know Go, but it should be general. So I hope that it won't be too big of a problem. And second one is a game server. Second one is a website. So if the ones whose projects I'm reviewing is there, please let me know in the chat. Else we can wait a bit. That's a bit not so good. Not so good. I would really like to have the people whose code is being reviewed here. So I will quickly get in touch with them. For Reddit, my salvation. In the meanwhile, those who are here, please let me know if you guys are familiar with Go. Have you heard about Go? What do you know about Go? And do you think it's a good language or not? I will. Right now on my screen you see code of Go. Okay, I sent them messages. I hope they will come. Let's have a quick look of what we have here. This test doesn't really do anything, so I cannot say much. I think test here refers to if you can communicate with the server itself, if endpoint is reachable, stuff like that. So it's not really relevant for us. Here is probably data which gets transferred from server to client, and it's quite interesting as again there are many empty switch statements here which I don't know what for are they used. Maybe they are for the future, like here it says to do. So again, cannot really comment on that. Extract content for a message. Content, well, message content. Bytes array is also message content, so it's not clear for me what message content is. Get type. So let's move on to other things that we see. We have structs. How can you learn C# as just an ETR? Well, by putting effort and practicing, starting from the very basics, reading the docs, and just doing it. I can give you some resources for learning it. Give me a second. Okay, so here is one thing that you can have a look at C# and object-oriented programming in general. And this is written by me. Basically tells you what a class is, what encapsulation is, what static is in really beginner-friendly way. And I also have another source which is also aimed to be really beginner friendly. So if I go to my thing, repositories, where are my repositories? My repositories. Okay, clean code series I'll show, and OP lesson series, I think that's the one, or CS tutorials. Oh, here. So here in the wiki page, you can also see a bunch of very small lessons, basically like tutorials point, except I try to make it really beginner friendly about each of the things that you need to learn for a beginner level for C#. All the way from what a program is, what a variable is, to interface. So it's basically like my version of tutorials point. And after you finish reading them, you should put them to practice, learn, program, Google stuff. When you need to do some specifics and when you're stuck, just don't be afraid to Google, learn from others, join a community to get help, and just keep doing your projects. Anything that you do on your daily basis, if you can think of a project idea which helps you with your daily tasks, go for it and do it. Don't be afraid to be stuck at not knowing how to do it, because by doing what you don't know how is how you learn the best, by challenging yourself to going into the unknown. So that's the way to learn C# and in general everything really. Just don't be afraid to acknowledge the fact that you don't know it yet, and don't be afraid to learn. Learn through trial and error. Okay, let's continue with structs, with the definition of structs. So what I really hate in this code already, and I don't know how to do this, but I don't know the syntax of Go so well, so I don't want to break stuff, but I'll put remarks in code. I have plenty of things that I don't like here. So let's start with, first, I presume that const here is like in JavaScript, that it might not be across, I mean that it is across all those files and not just local to this file. I might be wrong, but I think it's just local to the package. So those constants, they are quite ugly. But what I like and dislike at the same time with this kind of style is that the person who wrote this explained himself, even though this might not be clear, but he explained himself why he did that. There is a bunch of comments, and let's try to read them and see if it's clear. If it's not clear, let's ask for clarification. So message type is a welcome message. Well, now when I think about each of those types, you have what? Well, you skipped some types. I don't know why the inconsistency, because you go 0, 1, and then you skipped 2, you skipped 4, and then you skipped 15. I don't really see a pattern here. So I'll start with a comment for inconsistent enum for types. 1. I'm sorry. I'm a bit sick. 1, 0, 1, 3, and then what? 5, and then 18, and so on. It's inconsistent. And I don't see a reason why. So I will go about this review like this. Review remark. I won't index it. I'll just put review remark, so you can search for those remarks. This is inconsistent naming. I'll put it closer to constants. Those constants are enum types. And the second thing that I thought about it, instead of all those types, would it not be better to just have a class for each of those instead of a type for each of those? So I'll just leave this as an open thought. And since I really don't understand the intention of that method, I will also mention that it's not clear the intention. So I will write each if case could be a separate wrong place comment. Each if case could be a separate class. those are the remarks. 4-byte client code, 1-byte message type. All right. So after reading this the second time, I now understand what the person means. So presumably that's the beginning of the message in byte array, and the rest will be the actual message. So this, I think, could be simply moved into the class of its own, so that you no longer need such comments. All those comments would drop, and all those comments would simply be represented in a class, in a type, which handles it. So if I copy this, we'll say by moving each case into a class of its own, you no longer need to comment those structure cases. And those structure cases will no longer be commented because it will be clear and short what is being done in those classes per case. So if you split it like that, you no longer need to have a bunch of constants for the type of message and an interface. Well, interface for a message is needed, but now you could have a bunch of implementations here for var string, var byte, vector byte, and so on. So I would split those into separate objects, into POCOs they're called, and handle it there. So this right here is a smell. Many if switch cases prefer polymorphic behavior. I'm not sure if there's a thing called generics here, but if there was, you could have generics. Generics question mark. So you pass in a generic message, and that's how you extract content instead of having multiple switch cases. And then you use a constructor, and constructor will handle how each message gets constructed based on the message content, byte array. All right, structs. Message itself has its type and content. Again, I would say instead of type for message type, code remark. So instead of message type, different object per it. Next, so we have encapsulation. Another remark, you should not have multiple types in the same file, though this is message only. Well, this is message only, so I'll let that slide. So you get type, get content, you send message. Now, sending a message is quite separate from message itself, and I think for message itself, this is all there should be for message. So I'll write that. Just message itself should be the content of message go. So this right here, end of message. And you have too much stuff going on in this file. Indicator, if file is more than 500 lines of code, well, you have commented out code, you have code with comments, and those of course accumulate. I also don't tolerate things like that. I mean, it's obvious that this is an interface, so you don't need to separate it with regions. You don't need that. Don't use 3 lines for a single comment. That's just bad practice. Don't do it. And I'll put exclamation mark. This is important. Comment like this is redundant. For obvious code, you should not write comments like this. When you cannot write when you read code and it's not clear what it does, you should rename it. If you cannot rename it, you should restructure it, but it should be clear what it does from the name. Commented out code should be deleted. At the end of commit, code lines like this, they should not be existent. Right, so here we have a problem. Sending a message is not the same as message itself. So it's an external responsibility and it needs to be split. And message sender or transmitter is a name for component to consider. All right. Now, let's go back to message itself and mtype and mcontent. I mean, you are in the message itself. You no longer need to prefix it with the message. I am not sure if it refers to the message or to the, yeah, it refers to the message itself, as I didn't see the pattern in the previous struct. So m prefix is not needed. We don't want this prefix, it's not needed. Also, if those whose code I'm supposed to review are here, please let me know. You don't want to separate functions with comments like that. So we have encapsulation here. This is a good thing. You basically, you basically have a setter and a getter for a of a class. So it's called encapsulation. The basics of encapsulation. This is needed. You basically say that the property is read-only. That's a good thing. Okay, so like I said, this should be a separate component because this is too big of a code block to be in the same file. Another thing that's bad in here is that you have all those cases. So if you had an object which handled all the logic for sending or extracting the content, it would be much better. So what can we do here? We have a send method which again processes message based on its type. And welcome message is done like this. You implement those. So right. The problem here is that we have multiple switch cases again. But I'm thinking, where should this go? Sending a message and extracting content are two different things. But what this does seems to be extracting content, isn't it? You get content. Let's see the method above. Extract content. Oh, okay. So basically, we encode the first byte of message to be the type. And then the rest is the content itself. So we just write the content, the whole message after that to the server. And the problem here is that we see it consistently doing the same thing. Connection right in every one of those places. So I will move this because this is a no-brainer. Well, I will leave this because I might break it and I just want to have meaningful remarks. But anyways, the problem is that write is being done all the time. So consider moving it to outside of the switch because it will happen anyways. Now, this is fine, though this is a magic number, 1. Should be start of message start index. Should be message start index is 1. Next. So here you say that the message type is the first byte in the message, and the rest of the message is the message that I need to send. That's fine. In the end, you send it and you print it. That's fine. The problem here again is that we have inconsistency. We have here basically the same going on. So now I'm definitely moving this up there. So how this looks like: first you make a message, then you to send bytes to send. That's good. And lastly, this is not needed, and this goes to the end. So what do we have? I move this to the remark statement, and we no longer need this. Oh, wait. Let's undo a few times. Okay, good. So all good. We moved it away, we move this away. We move this away. We move this away. We move this away. Again, same functionality that we moved to the start and the end. Okay, next. Strange message, void message, in-game message. So basically this part is actually sending a message. This part is not sending a message. It's just forming a message. It's essentially generating a message. Or maybe, to put it more clear, reformatting a message. So this part is reformatting a message. Actually, the beginning also includes. And again, I am absolutely noobish at Go. I have no idea what the syntax is like. Function m message, get type message type. Here I'll put a comment, move this to a function. Prepare byte array, something like that. So you prepare byte array to be passed in here, to be sent. And this could be a part of a message. So if you do it based on message by message, you could create a specific message type. here you have a specific message type already. So instead of, and this is fine, but instead of, you have a struct here. I'm not sure if Go has classes. I think this is not a class, maybe it is. But anyways, if you have inheritance and if you go for polymorphic behavior, you no longer need all of those types. So I'll just emphasize it here. If you extend this to go for polymorphism, you will no longer need any of the switch cases. It's really important to realize this. It's extremely important. And you should follow that. And this is called OCP. Open close principle. Like this, you no longer need to change this function when you want to implement the missing parts. The missing parts will simply be non-existent, and in here, default, you will have the missing parts. But each of those objects, new in-room message, new disconnection message, new connection message, each of those message types will handle a piece of logic for formatting, forming a message, and extracting content. Maybe this was your intention for extract content, because that's what the switch statement does. Oh crap. For so it's really unclear what that's used, and it's a big confusion. But anyways, there's a clear pattern. Here I will again say clear naming is needed. Don't use a single symbol for a name. That's a really bad practice. Content, okay. Again, S. Why is it S? I'll just repeat this multiple times across. Clear naming, clear naming, clear naming. It's important. It's really important. So then you write to send. What do you send? Byte array. That's acceptable. Send in game. This might be useless. Well, I will say again at the top of this, consistently repeating switch statements. So apply polymorphism and use polymorphic behavior. Right now, the flow is procedural. Make it OO flow. Let's go on. Player, types, interfaces. Same problem. Separating this with like this is a no-go. So a tip. I think instead of having a bunch of a bunch of regions, you're better off to have a folder with a bunch of files. But what I don't get is, so interface should be a file of its own because it's a contract, it can be reused. You might have different types of players implementing the same interface, so you might consider that. Now you have player struct and player interface, all good. But why do you have so many regions, man? You don't need those, so get rid of those. All right, this player sends message, sets room, broadcast room. I'll stick to this. It's okay. Though at first glance it seemed that this might be too much for a player to do, but we'll see. Maybe it's okay. Constants, interfaces. Well, by writing constants, interfaces, functions, you're basically saying what's already clear. Const keyword makes it clear that this is constants. Even though I don't know Go, I know that this defines constants. Interface, well, this is interface, so you don't need to put three lines of comments just for that. Functions, well, yeah, function keyword. Structs, well, this is a struct and this is function, so based on your regions, this is inconsistent, so consider it. Free spots, rooms, free spots, I would say better naming, so clear or reset. You clear rooms, so clearing rooms includes freeing up spots. Get key. Properties should go to top. What else? Broadcast message, add player. Yeah, that's good. Add player. Naming again. And this actually reminds me a lot of JavaScript. So many problems with naming. Server, we have interface, start, close, add listener, remove listener, emit, status, status in. Well, it's not clear. Add room, remove room, add player, remove player. Broadcast message room. Send message to connection, send message to address, assign room, okay. Do you, oh, port. But do you, well, port is a noun. Methods, a port is an adjective. methods should, sorry, it's not an adjective, it's a noun. Methods should, method names should be verbs. Also, looks like a getter should be, and if it is a getter, why do you need an interface for data? Functions. Port string, new server config, new server. Naming. Naming is bad, really bad. Also, yeah. So split this to a separate file. If I go up, server, well, never mind me. This is fine. It's just server. All of this is about server. You have types, you have interfaces, you have, well, this should be a separate file. This code is really unreadable. So you have error, then you open a port to listen. If it listens successfully, you continue and accept whatever is ln. Listener, oh boy. So we split that to function. For is this a while true loop or something like that? As I don't see how the person checks the condition. So here you open a port, and here what do you do? I don't understand. Implement class, add listener, okay, remove listener, okay, well, add listener, let's see, if okay, okay. Oh, you have a channel for distributed tasks. That's cool, I've read about it. Well, naming is really bad across. You should not. I don't understand code mostly because of poor naming. Well, mostly because I don't know Go. Remove player. This is fine. All those are fine. Fine. Send message to address and send message. Broadcast message seems to be so reuse this method in broadcast message because it does the same thing that is being done here, so you might as well reuse it. STD Go. It doesn't say anything. Server config. STD receive message. Okay. Again, you convert each type to the message you want. Each message belongs to each type, each switch in-game message. Where? Each message type should go to message object. So if you have that, you could avoid those switch statements. Another problem here is that you have essentially three places where responsibility is essentially the same. You make a message based on its type, and you do this essentially in three different places, where you extract a content, where you create content, and where you again accept content. So looks very much like the previous methods for message type, except the opposite, converse stuff. Okay, so yeah, you should split that. Each of those should be in a function of their own. I cannot read this. It's unreadable. Do you really need 2 to 4? Why can't you reuse the same error variable? I don't know. Naming. Tools. So for tools, it sounds really generic, general, and I wouldn't know what's there. And you should specify what functionality is provided given the responsibility and clear name. Here, what do we have? Basically 2 files would be int to byte, byte to int, converter .go, and here byte randomizer .go. So the structure for the script is quite poor. Also, yeah, Dance With Me 1 to 3, I totally agree. And I can actually go back a bit. So if you look here, you have so many statements, so many switch cases. And here you have once the cases for making a message, and here in a separate place for server, you have another place where you make those messages. So basically it could be combined, united, and extracted. Okay. If you don't use it, delete it. Because you have versioning, you have code control, versioning systems, which does that for you, which keeps track of code. Server. So the problem here is that there is too much going on in a single file, split to little modules. Treat server as a gateway which simply calls those smaller modules. I really hate the regioning. It's meaningless to me and it's noise. And that's it. That's it. I will go to see the other person's repost. Actually, it's the other person who has a project called, let me see, what's the name? Coding Trainer. Is Coding Trainer, owner of Coding Trainer project, here in chat right now? If not, then I'll end stream. Okay, good. Okay, so let me, I'll make pull request to Buffini, the owner of this project, and I'll continue with what I'm familiar with now, the C# project. So let's get to it. Okay. Tests. Okay. Whoa, what a big test file. Assessment does not include output test. Assessment include output test. Assessment not abort test. Assessment. Okay, I'll let that slide. Seems to be one thing. Okay, first thing about tests. Here, okay, code, get usings, system, append this, assessment runner. So we do this. Isn't this the same? Find 10 differences. Basically the same. So the same rules for tests apply. We don't want duplicate code, so we can extract this in a method. And we'll call it arrange assessment group. And we don't need the arrange now comment for sure. I also don't really like the act and assert comments because they are quite obvious. I mean, it's good for a tutorial, but it's not really useful for practical sense. But this might be just my opinion, though I'm not an advocate of comments. So if we have this, we can put this all the way to the end. I actually don't know where my bar is. Can I return it? Because it's quite annoying. Toolbars. Other windows. It's quite annoying when having a slider. Okay. So at the bottom we put this, and instead of each, we can do this. Actually, boom, Really sad that I cannot do this, but okay. So we basically remove this duplicate block. And we can combine this, as this is the same thing for arrange. Combine, we combine, we combine. Okay. So very much of a redundant code. We dropped already quite many lines. That's a good thing. In the meanwhile, I'm trying to see something similar, and here we have something really, really similar again. It's normal that tests have redundant calls, but it's not cool to keep those implemented raw calls and not grouped. So it's better to do it this way. Okay, so I forgot one thing, and oh boy. Oh my god. Okay, if I do this, come on, why Control F you? Why don't you work? So I want this in this document to be changed to var assessment runner. Okay. So this is not arrange assessment group, but create assessment runner. I will rename it as well. Assessment. Let's put it here and let's put it there. Whoops. Oh god. Okay. Okay, and this one I put here. Okay. Right? All good. Okay. Why not? The assessment runner variable is set up in the setup method, hence it's a static variable. Oh, okay. It's a static variable. But that's not a problem. I can have a static, this one static as well too then. Well, actually, I can work with statics from non-static context, so that's also not a bad thing. So which part do you think will fail? Because this doesn't, there is no static here, it's just local stuff. Oh, why is this not changed? Come on. And actually a good point, this could be moved to static setup instead to make the test run faster. Now we have our act method, which okay. Again, 2 lines. We could put this as a one-liner. Today I had a conversation with my colleague actually about similar stuff. Basically, I think a few years back he would say that a function which has AND word in its name is a bad function name because it implies that it does 2 things. But now I disagree with him, because a function with AND is nothing. If it's done right, it's simply 2 highest level calls. A function should do one thing, and a function which does one thing is when a function does not mix its abstraction levels. So here we can have another extraction, because again we do the same act across this whole code. So we can again split this into smaller piece. So let's split it. And I'll call it run assessment and detach console writer. And this will accept assessment group. Next. All right. Naming could be better, but the whole thing is that we now have code duplication removal, and it's clear that we make assessment group, we run assessment, and then we assert it. So asserts are definitely not, won't be extracted even if they were repeating it themselves. That's a really important part. But the rest I think is good. Okay. Run assessment and detach console writer. Sorry, looked wrong. Assessment group start message false test. Okay, you have the same problem as I did a while back. You have a test suffix for each test. You are in assessment runner test class, and each of those methods will be a test anyways. Well, most of them, it's either a test or a test helper. So instead of test, which doesn't really give extra information, you should have a suffix saying if you're testing success or fault. So I cannot really say that, judging from this test content, does not contain test group, assert is true, result. What does it mean for result to be true? So could you explain me what did you mean for that result is true? Assessment for a group, it means that assessment has been successful. So it means that it was simply processed, or that the one, okay, the method we're testing does an assessment and returns true if the assessment succeeded. So assessment which succeeds means that the one who was assessed passed the assessment. Is that what it means? Or that it simply was processed completely? That was complete. Oh, okay. Okay, good. Good. Okay. Assessment group start message false. True. So, well, what confuses me here is that test asserts assessment group start message false, but it asserts for true. Why is that the case? It's confusing. Oh no. I will quickly refer to GitHub. We might need another variable to indicate if it's true or false. Let's see. Coding trainer assessment. Wait, test, where am I? Assessment runner, assessment tests, here. Okay, and we are in here. So what did we have? I don't think I ruled anything out. It's still the same. It's still the same. It's still the same. So it's weird. Also, you used NUnit. I'm a bit unfamiliar with NUnit. I use XUnit or MS tests. Usually XUnit. But it's really cool that you tested all those things. I really like that. Oh, and now we don't need this, so we can replace it. So take your time. I will refactor it in the meanwhile. All right, I'm reading, looking at it. Oh, yes. Yes. Okay. And by default, that one is false. Okay. Thus the false. Yeah. Okay. But I think you yourself were confused with it. So a better name for a test would be, I mean, we should change the name for a test a bit to make it more clear. Message false is not clear. Start message false is clear. Also, in C#, we usually don't write snake case, but it's a scientific fact that for long names, and test names tend to be long, we use snake case. So assessment group, start message, false, and you should write if you're testing for success or for fail. So okay or fail or success, something like that. That's the structure for test that you should follow. So assessment group, start message, true. I will, yeah, it's fine. Okay, you didn't check for fails anywhere, so I presume that there is no way this can fail. Assessment group, pass message. Now I'm trying to understand what pass message false means. Pass message false. Okay. Assessment group, pass message. What's the difference? I'm trying to think. Oh, the difference is that I don't have an auto message on start. That means there is no pass message. Well, since this was the case where you have a property indicating true or false, and this is more like no pass message. More like this. Without and with. Maybe that's more clear. Assessment group with pass message. Okay. Right. Assessment group fail, message false. Assessment group fail, message false. Message false, like in this one. Is it start message? With what you were referring to? As that's the default value. Fail message. Fail message false. Okay. Here you have factored out a difference. The input of assessment is different to before, so this is a will fail, but it won't display a message saying it's failed. Okay. Let's go back to your code. Which line was it? Assessment group start message, pass message, group pass message, console write line, why can't I find it? Okay, let's count tests. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5, 5, fifth test. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, this test. Assessment group fail message false test. Assessment group fail message true test. False, true, true, false. Okay. Console write line. Console write line. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, test output, wrong output, wrong output, test output, test output, test output, test output. I got it. Okay, got it. So let me mark the tests which have wrong output. Damn it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5. Wrong output. Wrong output. Wrong output. 5, 6. 7. Sorry, 8. What the hell? God damn it. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 20. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6. 7, 8. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 14. 15, 16. 15, 16. 17, 18. 19 and 20. can I undo? From 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. From 16 to 20, you had tests which were a bit different. Okay. So 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Good. So here the method will have input. Test output. And we will pass test output. And we will actually pass it a bit formatted. Test output, wrong output. So basically the words will be extracted. And let's add, oh, you did it like this. Okay, good. What can I do? Wait, I'm a bit confused. Right line. I wanted to do string interpolation, so I can put it here. And $sign here. Yeah, good. So we have test output and case number 1, wrong place. Are you sure? Because it recognizes this one. I actually haven't seen a case where it needs to go before console write line. Oh, I didn't notice. Oh my god. Oh my god. Noob. Yeah, okay. Thanks for noting. Okay, so typical tests without plus will have test output I'll skip the ones with a plus for now. Holy shit, if we go on like this, it's gonna take a while, and I think I will continue refactoring on the next session your code, because I'm just doing tests right now. Oh crap, what am I doing? Okay. Okay. And now the ones with plus are left. The ones with a plus. Okay. And the message that should be is wrong output. Okay. Now I think you agree that it's fine. And we stopped here. Assessment group fail message true test. Assessment group fail message false. Okay. Assessment group fail message true. Okay. Okay, now I understand the meaning of a test name. Assessment group no fail message on pass. Okay. So no fail message on pass. Okay. Okay might be actually even deleted because you don't really test if it ever fails, like exception happens. Assessment group no pass message on fail. Okay. Assessment start. Assessment start message false. Okay. Now I don't really understand. Assessment start message false. What does it mean? And why did we suddenly drop the group out of this? That I don't understand. Assessments are grouped together. At the start end of each assessment, we may or may not see a message. Okay. Clear enough. Oops. Pass message false. Okay. Assessment pass message I guess is the entity. Maybe not. Message is an entity. Pass is what happened. So pass message true. Okay. Assessment I'll change my mind. I'll group pass message together. Fail message. Fail message. True. Okay. Okay, so I can say in advance that I won't be able to test to refactor the whole thing, but I will at least cover one or two more projects other than tests. Why didn't I finish this one up? Here. Okay, here. Okay. Assessment. No fail message on pass. Okay. Assessment. No pass message on fail. Okay. assessment group is an entity, assessment group abort OK. Assessment no group I'll split it because it's clear distinction. Assessment abort test. Assessment no abort test. Assessment include output test. Okay. Assessment does not include probably better name is not included output. And arrange assessment group. Okay, fine. Also, what bothered me was setup. Assessment group. Okay, but this is just creating lines for assessment. I guess I don't really care. Okay. I won't pick on this. I wanted to say that you should split those into separate, maybe named objects. I mean, method to build such object, but I guess it's fine. It's a very specific and strict place where you do it. And here, it's quite different, and console in read too much test. Again, read too much. You emphasize action and post condition, and that you test fail in this case. Console in. Okay. Next, code host test. Tests common. I won't cover more tests, it's for another time. I can only maybe check if it has stuff which is repeating itself. Okay. Oh boy. Wait. Append. Oh, okay. Still, I would no magic numbers. I'll just put the comment here. I understand this is fine. You just have a string, but compiler input maybe. Code input maybe is what it is, because reading this one I am not sure if it's something specific, general, can I change it, but with this I know it's general and I just append general code input to overall code. And no magic numbers means that that I also name overflow not supported line number is probably what you meant by 10,000. And I would be more clear, more specific about this. It's an important constant. Edge case. It's nice that you tested the edge case. Whoa, okay, that's fine. Out of memory test. Compilation too big. Fail. Compile error. Okay. Again, magic stuff. Well, actually, this is a string, so whatever. Code, in this case, also const. It doesn't change, right? Yeah, so const. If it doesn't change, you can const it. Well, I think tests in general are covered. If it repeats or if it has magic stuff, you should define it. And when you name a test, use snake case and have target entity that you test and actions, post or pre-actions that happen, that are done with it, so that tests are more expressible. In general, I should have started from a directory structure. So if I go here, the problem with this code structure is that tests are mixed with source code. So what you should have done is have a source folder and a tests folder, so that you can separate the two from each other. I don't want to mix tests with source if I just work with source. And if I just work with tests, I don't want to see source anymore. So you should separate those two. So essentially, a project structure, solution structure should be as follows. You have sources, source code, tests, docs, also build, and that's it, I think. So you basically have this, and this in your root of the repository, and the rest is details. So I highly recommend splitting to that. Let's continue. Oh, I just noticed that you mix NUnit here. I hope it is for learning. Oh, never mind. Wait, I swear I saw XUnit. Okay, never mind. Ignore me. Oh, sorry. Okay, good. All good. Unused usings, a really small nitpicky thing, but you might as well remove them. Next. Assessments by inspection. This is... so let me just clarify stuff. This is a table. I mean, the source from which this class picks up its data from entity framework. Yeah, data annotations, probably entity framework. My question is this the model that you process as well? Does it change? Is there data transformations, or this is what you use for displaying? I get that, but I would like to see references. Okay, let's go on. This looks good. I would not put this in the same line. I would separate this. Other than that, it would look good, but I will... Assessment by inspection base. Assessment method base. Let's see. Wait. Okay, this I really don't like. You have one abstract class, second abstract class, third abstract class. So each assessment shares those things, those attributes from a data table. You have assessment base for DTO, and then you have assessment method base tough one. I get that. All is good. I understand. What I don't like is a long chain of inheritance here. But I cannot figure out what would I do instead. Yeah. Assessment base, assessment method base. There are two different types of assessment. The actual assessment inherit from that. Yeah, I get, I mean, for all of those, I understand why you chose this, but the problem is that there is a deep inheritance hierarchy here, and I'm thinking how to get rid of it. I will mark and leave a note that for now I don't know, but I would try to move away from this. And then you have a protected inner class. Could you... Well, I guess you used inner class because that's the only place where you use this class in this class. But... I really also don't like inner classes. I would make it internal. But I can't see it. I mean, you used it just for this, so... I mean, the framework allows us to do that, so why not? But I consider this a bit dirty, because when I want to know about a class, I will look for it in a separate file. If I look for enum helpers, I will not even think that it can be an assessment method base. So it's a consideration for splitting it into separate. Though ReSharper doesn't say that. So maybe it's not so bad. I think this comment is quite useless. This is also a useless comment. Now, a question to you. Is there a reason why this is a comment like this and not this? Because when I write comments, I try to stick to conventions and make them useful. Not just to be a description at some point, but I understand the need for comment itself. I just don't understand why you didn't choose to comment it like this. So that when you hover it, you can... why can't I see it? I should be able to see it somewhere. Oh, come on. Why can't I see it? What the hell? Well, IntelliSense is not working, but with comment like this, you should see IntelliSense. So it's a cleaner comment. XML comments are the way to go if you write comments in general. Like here you wrote, but there you didn't, so it would make more sense a bit. Oh, wow. Thanks. Okay. Thank you. Under Vance. Okay. Assessment bag. Dynamic. Please give me a good reason for dynamic. The only good reason I see for dynamic is when you have interoperability between languages, but for a property that's completely under your control, why? That's because each assessment, which might include code that comes from the database and is compiled on the fly, needs a way to pass data to the next assessment. Okay, so why not an interface? But why not an interface? If an assessment can pass something. You have no way in advance of knowing what an assessment pass. Generic, maybe? Okay. Okay. Event. Okay. Assess async. Okay. Okay. Fair enough. Assessment runner. Well, I'll go back quickly here. and this is a bit inconsistent. I think events should be at the top. At least choose one style, because in the other one you have it at the top, separated. I think you should ask London Pilot, and he will tell you about it. It's his project. Okay, iCodeRunner, code, naming conventions, if it's if it's a private field, we use underscore for naming. All right, assessment runner, static constructor, that's fine. Try. Now, this is definitely too big of a constructor. I'm not saying it does too many things, but the problem is that all of those are raw, and comments are needed to clarify what's going on. And I think we could make this more readable by splitting it a bit. Try. So what do we do here? Adds types to dynamic linQ, which might be used by assessment queries. This has to happen once before assessments run. Doing it in the static constructor should do the trick. Yes, for reflections, for stuff that we do once, static constructor is good. So what do we do here? I'm trying to figure out in steps. Assessment method base, get nested type, enum helper 2. Okay. You're getting the inner class from assessment method base. And you generate a generic type. So this whole thing, I think, is one thing. And I will need to explore this first. Is enum helper really Microsoft's thing? They call it like that? Of an array of types. Okay. Okay, I think I will extract this and call it so this extracts enums into a specific type per enum. It looks like it. So I'll just call it, naming is not the best, of course, but so you have extract enum types. And now what do we do here? simply use typeof. Okay. Dynamic expression parser. Predefined types. What is going on? Field set value, null and null. What does that mean? I don't know. Could you explain? Null and null for a field. Private field called predefined types. Expression parser has predefined types field. Okay. So we extract enum types, and based on that we get predefined expression runner types. And lastly, what do we do? Could you explain what this function, what this piece of code does? It seems that you populate or like you update, add, append more types to the existing types. Merges arrays basically of types. Oh, predefined types. New types, predefined types. I think that's a better name. I already used that. Oh, it's just one type. Okay, so you get predefined types. It gets array from extraction parser. Besides it, adds our types to it. Okay, syntax token. Sure. So it basically merges the arrays. Is that correct? New types with predefined types. It merges the two. Okay. Yeah, outs are a bit nasty. You basically return 3 things here. So instead you could return a tuple maybe with 3 things within, 3 items in the tuple. Merge types. And lastly, what do we do? What is this field? What does it mean? What is it for? Field for what? Predefined types field. Okay. And here we set predefined types field value. And like this, we extracted this into a function which does one thing. So what do? We extract the enum types, and then based on those, we actually should put this after one more small adjustment that we can do. So we first get our expression with predefined types. Then we get types by enum, our new types. We merge them and we set a field which holds the merged values. Okay, that's clear. That's what we extracted. This should all, by the way, go all the way down, as this is quite low level. All right. Add types to dynamic linku, which might be used by assessment queries. Assessment method base. Was there the same name used anywhere else? Because this seems a bit of a deja vu. No, okay. Extract enum types. This is fine. This is fine. Since you have underscore, you no longer need this. One space is enough. Well, You wrote what it does, so you might as well define it as a method instead of a comment. Prepare to compile the code. For compiling. Run each of the tests. Prepare for compiling, run tests. If result is, you write congratulations, return result. Run tests also needs splitting. And this should go above. These should also be a bit switched. Basically the same order that I use them in code, they should be aligned, put from top to bottom in the same order, just like reading a book. Okay. Run tests. Oh, here, the assessment bag. Really? Ender Vance? Because I'm a bit tired and I'm not doing my best today. And sadly, I'm failing at grasping big picture. Right now I'm just picking on small stuff. I hope I made code a bit more readable at least. For example, in this place, you prepare for compiling, then you run tests, and then you write the console if result is success. Yeah, this is the code that we were testing before. It's all broken now, I'm sorry. I'm laughing, you're not probably. Okay. Oh, okay, nice. I read Clean Code around a year ago, and ever since I've been spreading the ideas for it all around. I think I will refactor this and this class, and I'll finish with it. I will continue refactoring it next weekend as well, next Sunday, as there is a lot to grasp. This one I won't really look. I'm not interested into web stuff. Not interesting. Repositories. Okay. Let's try to refactor this one. This is fine. This is fine. This is not fine. Especially since you yourself put a comment indicates it's not fine. End of assessment loop. So basically, run assessments. That's what it does. the whole reason why I did it like this is because you have a nested for loop for each loop, and you don't want that. That's a really big code smell. You want to have a single scope for stuff, preferably a single scope for loop, I mean. So if assessment group show on start, write to console. Okay. Why am I saying this is okay? Because if I cannot split function even more, then it's an indicator that it's split good enough. To group result, it's supposed to be assigned a value somewhere, seems to be lost when you refactor it. Huh. Wait. I did extract this. Why did it extract it like that? Run assessments. Oh, really? So is it never hit? Or is it never reached? Let's try to think logically here. Before you refactor the changes, the variable that gets initialized on, but when you refactor, something gets broken. Is this a flaw of ReSharper? Could we call this a refactoring flaw? I guess so. It also doesn't make sense to me. Well, what if we just do it like this? Before it was opaque, that's why I said that. Oh, okay. Return. Why doesn't it return anything even when I mark it like that? Because essentially what we want here is group result to be true or false. Let's refactor once again. And I'll call it run assessments. Okay, now it's better. Dynamic. Are you serious? What the fuck, Sharp? What the fuck? Come on. Dynamic. Dynamic. Why? Why dynamic? That's really odd. So group result, run assessments. We get assessments. For logical variables, we have is prefix. So is a positive group result. Or just is group passed. So what do? We, for each assessment group, we slight noise, I would like to extract this. Show auto message if checked. If checked, naming is not good, but it's a bit too much that I want to know here. I don't want to know those details, so I want to see just one method. Then I run assessments and I get results if group passed, and if group passed, oh, this is also the same, isn't it? Checking. Okay. Okay. We can say, can we say title passed, write to console, write to console. Okay, this is redundant. We can split and say message, and we can say print auto message if checked. Print message if checked. Better. Auto, I don't know why I wrote auto. And the message here is checking stuff. They're different? Sorry then. Sorry. That's not extracted then. It's good enough as it is. If group passed, well, the comment is redundant. Result is false. But is it really the show auto message start? Oh, okay. Okay, then never mind. Okay. This is okay now of a method. The ugliest parts are extracted. Passed, failed. Okay. Run assessments, stuff like that. Okay. I think it makes sense to extract this to an interface. Because it has a decent bit of behavior in itself. So I think the public method should be interfaced. So iAssessment Runner is needed as well. And now we don't need this, and this is pretty obvious. The loop is short, it fits in a screen, so you no longer need a comment. Order of function should be a bit tidied so that you don't have mixed stuff. This is a really neat function, class. String reader, iText writer, injectable, sure. What is that? Text writer. Well, the problem with this code overall, I think, is that you don't really use interfaces as much as you should. For that reason, when you write tests, you won't be able to write unit tests, meaning that you will have integration tests only, meaning that you won't be able to test a unit in isolation. You'll always be testing a dependency. And if someone was using your code, well, they will be bound to implementation details that maybe they don't want to. So I highly recommend having each of such classes. Why is it so many? What the hell? That each of such classes which contain behavior to be extracted in interfaces. So here we have read to end, and read line. Oh, string reader. Pre-programmed text reader is string reader. So in this case, you have two options basically. You could either have a component for string reader, private component, or what you did, inherited. The problem with this class, I think, is that you wouldn't expect string reader to have string text writer. Also, it's really bizarre to have text writer exposed to public. Why? Why is it public? I'm thinking. Is it used outside somewhere? So consider making private. It's used. Let's see. Oh, right, because it's... But then either name of a class is bad, because I don't expect text reader to be writing stuff. So It's a bit bizarre to name it like this. I think the main argument why string reader is bad for inheritance in your case is that all you do here is use base read. How would your program change if this was a composition instead of inheritance? How would that change, I wonder? Or do you need string reader from the outside? Okay. Okay. I understand what you mean now. In that case, it's fine. Since you do have such a dependency and you basically literally extend. Okay. If you have a dependency which is required by the console and that dependency is string reader, then there's nothing wrong. And this is fine. -1 is also not a magic number, so I won't put it to a constant because it's a well-known constant for such errors. Okay, let's finish this project at least. As ancestor node assessment. Too much is going on here, so we can split it. 3 tokens result. Not sure why you decided to define result there, but it would be much better here. 3 tokens. Okay, so we can move it here like this to make it more understandable. Tokens param expression. 3 tokens. 3 tokens used only there. So we can move this further down. Result is true. Move it there. Tightly related. there's nothing really that we can split here. Here I think we can split. What's up? Well, parent is not null. Parent expression. Oof. For each token in tokens. Parent token parent. Parent is not null. Also not sure if from result is a good way to do this, because usually result for task is something that you want to avoid, but I might be wrong here, so I'll let that slide as well. But here assess compilation async. For each token, I think this is also fine. This is fine. This might not be fine. This can be extracted. So what do we do? Well, parent is not null. Parent expression. So what does this block do? Does this compile parent expression? True. Though we can, because we can have a result. Yes, it can return a flag. Though I don't understand the meaning of founded. If a particular item can be found, so let's see how it extracts. I'm curious. Extract tree structure, looking to see if particular item can be found. Parent also is iterated. God damn it. Oh, no. Parent is iterated, it's inside, so that's fine. I can move this one. And this one too. Yeah, this one is what I need. Yeah. This one. Yeah. And how should we name it? What does it do? It search tree for item. For what item though? For a token. For token? Syntax kid. And this is fine, I think. Because here it will break, and if it broke there, it will break here as well. It is inside a loop. It's in a while loop. So it breaks here, and then the flag is returned, and and this is broken, flag is true, it won't be broken. I think it's fine. Okay. So we have a bunch of things. We can also extract this one. Tokens. Syntax compilation. Yeah, we can extract tokens. Get 3 tokens. Here, what can we do? Here we cannot do anything. But I can move all those down. What's up with those? Expression. My tokens. I think, again, I can merge this. Can I? Not used anywhere else. So I definitely can... Get 3 tokens. Get expression tokens. Get 3 tokens. Get expression 3 tokens. That's the actual method name. Okay, I think that's fine. I fucked up something. Right, expression is used only there. Tokens are merged. And this is not supposed to be touched. So I can extract this part. Okay. Extract expression tree tokens. Okay, I think this is better. So we extract expression tree tokens and we get those things which we process. I think that's clear. Okay, and we put this here, all good. This is also not good, but it's god damn it, so close. This is fine, this is fine, this is fine. Magic number. Please name it yourself. I don't know what this is and I shouldn't, but you do. Lastly, yeah, last one we have this one. And this doesn't look similar. So we extract this. This is not okay as well. Okay. Handle the case where variable already declared now being assigned to int a. Handle the case where variable is declared and initialized. For node in nodes, while current node is not null. Where does it change? Oh, parent. Wow, really? For each node, you process parent nodes. I probably broke it. I'm sorry. Handle the case where variable already declared now being assigned to int a. A is this node. If current node kind assign already declared variable. So is variable already declared? And that's what this tells us. So if variable is already declared, we I don't get it. Already declared, now being assigned to. How is this different? Oh, I see. Okay, okay. So if is variable declared and assigned separately, I do this. This is tough. So like this, and now we don't need that one. And what happens here, I cannot think of a way of extracting this. So let it stay there. Well, parent is not null. So here we search for parent. So if parent is found, if is parent found, if it's not found, we break it and it fails. And actually, I'm thinking, yeah, I think this is redundant, right? I can just say this is not needed, and here I return true. and here I return false. And I don't need to break it anymore. Correct me if I'm wrong. But I think, yeah. So we can clean it. And lastly, this looks really redundant, but we can apply the same. Oh, it's parent found, well, of course. So except it's conversed. So false, and here true. As soon as we find it, we return true. While parent is not null, we take parent, right? Token parent, while parent is not null. So I just want to rename this is parent found. And like this, we have refactored quite a lot of stuff. And for this time, I think it's enough. I will continue next time with code host. And I'll also try to think of a way of how to make this a bit more structured, because there has to be a bit better ways how the same can be done. I'll try to think about it. Not sure what yet. So today it was mostly low level code refactorings like functions and stuff. So thank you for your time and see you next time. If you have any questions or remarks, please let me know. I'll make a pull request so you can choose what you accept and what you decline. So see you. Thank you. So see you next time.